Currently looking in the main base of a British Terran. It's the one and only DeMusliM. Good old Ben.
And his opponent spawning in the top left-hand side of Habitation Station, our red Zerg player. The beast from Tunisia. It is Stephano.
Really? He's still French to me. Well, he's a little bit of both. He's a very proud Tunisian Frenchman, I guess.
Yeah, he gets to represent both. I've got mouse. Someone turned the reverse mouse scroll on. So I'm just gonna rewire my brain quickly while I try to get around observing with that.
I'm happy if I still have a brain, because it would be awesome if they could turn down the audio just a tiny bit, because I'm losing my ability to hear over here, Pig. Like, it's actually, this is the loudest that I've ever had my headsets. Makes it a little bit tricky for me, but I'm still excited to see these games. It should be a lot of fun. If we could, swap observing PCs just for a moment, that would be fantastic while I fix up the settings over here. Someone's also changed the hotkeys around. Did jump off that analysis couch. But for now, guys, we are diving in to the map. It is looking pretty good. And there we go. Roddy, you've got control of the camera. I can fix up my hotkeys over here. Someone's done something weird. That's amazing. I love it, Pig. You just said that the map is looking pretty good. I mean, it would be scary if we loaded into a very muddy version of Habitation Station. It's only like all dirty and everything, you know, or it starts off and it's covered in creep. I was actually wondering, where is the banter? I expected some quality chat between these two, as the opening from DeMusliM is looking very solid, very standard so far. It's just a Reaper into a CC on the low ground. Stephano, this game did not go for his crazy Ling opening that we saw. Actually, he is going to have access to Zergling speed relatively quick once again, but I'm expecting it obviously to be a little different. This time his drone count is higher. I don't know, man. Oh! There's plenty to talk about. Okay, cool, yeah. Okay, Stephano's just going to go for that fast third base. Actually, he's going to go for it on 26 supply, I believe. That's incredibly early. So Stephano wanting to get a nice economic opening going. Meanwhile, DeMusliM going for that barracks into factory. DeMusliM is paranoid about what he perhaps saw or what he perhaps knows from Stephano's opening against X-Bias. He's keeping the Reaper at home, and he was perhaps worried that 4 Zerglings would show up, would start nibbling away at that SCV that's building that CC. But that's not happening, so there was no reason for the Reaper to stay at home at all. And the Reaper's now going to finally poke its way across the map. It is going to see this third base about halfway down and say, oh, that's a very fast third from Stephano. So DeMusliM now realizing he's not up against any cheeky early shenanigans. And yeah, we're looking, oh, looks quite good there. There are 4 Zerglings coming in now. DeMusliM just going to skirmish with those. Grabs a cheeky Zergling kill. Not a bad way to start things off. Meanwhile, interestingly, opening up with a double mine opening. Yep. And looks like he's going to open up with a fast, maybe 4 mine drop, something like that, before going into maybe a Banshee follow-up. I think it's just a double mine opening into a Banshee follow-up. Ben actually been talking a little bit about his TVZ, because I always think it's interesting. In general, DeMusliM is one of these European Terrans that had his own builds and his own timings. Because he used to do this like weird quadruple medevac attack, right, with like +1 and combat shield and stim for the longest time. But all the Zergs knew that he was doing it, so it just didn't work that well anymore. He says now he has multiple different openings. This is one of them. Likes to open up with a double medevac mine drop, followed up with some Banshees as well. Excellent in shutting down any sort of all-in, and he should be able to do a little bit of damage with it as well. Actually, it's going to be a Viking as a follow-up, so no Banshee. He lied to me, Big! I think a Viking's a good way to start out on this map, because there's always so many overlords in that path between you. On any of these maps where it's such a close air distance between the players, it's always really nice to be able to clear out that vision so you can just quickly drop in your opponent's main base. Speaking of drops, there is a Widow Mine drop coming in here, but Stephano is so on point. He is right underneath that 2 Marine 2 mine drop of those Zerglings. No chance to drop down at all. At the same time, those Queens were covering the third, but the Queens are now rotating to the back of the natural. Might be an opening for the Hellion Reaper to dive in. Yeah, DeMusliM did find a small opening. He was able to pick off a couple of drones. Obviously not the dream. The Spore is actually being repositioned now in the main, and that's a good little move perhaps for Ben to get a shot off. He does get a massive... Oh my god, only a single Ling remains. No, he shouldn't shoot there. He switches focus fire there as well to a drone. Well done, DeMusliM. I mean, that was a very juicy hit. Killed 10 Lings with a single mine. Very nicely done. The Hellion Reaper coming in at the same time, taking advantage of Stephano's inattention. And this is a little bit of a drone massacre starting here. 8 drones going down in total in this harassment. Going to be even more before he is forced to retreat. Oh, those Zerglings pop out. Do manage to shut that down. They are going to chase all of those Hellions down to their death. So nice recovery from Stephano to at least shut down DeMuslim's map presence, but losing 10 drones for it, definitely a good start for Ben.
Yeah, I absolutely think that DeMusliM is very satisfied. Don't forget that that medevac is still alive, of course, on the left top side as well. Could always dive in one more time. He was able to save one of these mines as well. I think this is an excellent start for DeMusliM, who has his third TC already morphing into an orbital. Is throwing down double eBay as well. 1-1 is on the way. I think he's very, very pleased with how this went. Actually, a small hole in that wall off. Has to be careful that he doesn't lose one of these depots, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, repair is pretty good. Repair is a nice skill to have as
Toy have. It's always toy.
Toy have?
Wow, look at DeMusliM, a little bit paranoid. He's actually going to throw up a bunker. I'm not exactly sure what he saw or what prompts this bunker, what he's so worried about. Maybe he's just that happy with the amount of damage that he did that he feels the only way he could still lose this game is due to an all-in, but if that doesn't happen, he just feels like he's going to roll over Stephano.
Well, this is a really cool opening from Ben. I mean, he's gone straight into the like third CC double eBay behind this with like 1 racks production, so he's got almost no fighting units out right now. So I can understand him being a little bit paranoid about some sort of like Ling Bane or Ravager Ling bust on such a short map, but that isn't going to be the case. Just investing in a little bit of bunker for safety, and I think both players are still reasonably even. The 1-1 slightly faster for DeMusliM. Nice little Widow Mine burrow there.
I mean, 2017 was supposed to be the year we left the word cheeky behind, but come on, there's no other way to describe that mine there at that fort. That is a cheeky mine if I've ever seen one, especially if Stephano decides to transfer a whole bunch of drones, but we'll see how it works out.
We are going to be seeing Ling Bane for Stephano. Going for the classic composition, of course, creep spread is going to be very important for this. And with the style DeMuslim's opted for, he's going to have like a huge economy, way bigger than Terran players normally have. But actually, he's going to be going for a double Liberator harassment down here. It has been spotted. Stephano, I don't know if he noticed it. He is sending some queens down and should be able to get on top of these Liberators. The big problem is, what if they get behind that third base in that position? We've seen the Liberators just don't get dislodged in some areas on this map.
Instead of just having one, he's going to get two. But he's going to siege on the fort for now. Multiple queens just stepping into these liberation zones. One queen does fall, though, but that's actually a pretty decent cleanup here by Stephano. Obviously a trade that most Zergs would love to make, just losing a single queen while taking out one of these Liberators.
You know, I actually forgot there were rocks on this back path on this map. I just realized that Ben is being so studious, taking those rocks down, making sure this Zergling counterattack that he doesn't even know about yet can't get in there. And DeMusliM is going up into a lot of barracks. His 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks all going down right now. And actually starting to add the vehicle plating on for those medevacs as well.
Stephano was actually reacting a little bit slow towards that Liberator on the third base, so he ended up losing a couple of drones there. One queen will start picking away at that Liberator now and finally take it out, but at least DeMusliM got a little bit of value out of one of those two Liberators.
DeMusliM just trying to clear up some creep now. Big Zergling counterattack is going to head in towards his third base. Bunker there with only 2 Marines in it. Not going to kill these very quickly, but the rally is not far away. Stephano has to pull back. I think Stephano really should try to break these rocks down on that back door. Ben, actually going to catch these Zerglings as well on the retreat. Very nice cleanup.
It's been a very clean game so far for DeMusliM, where I really felt like nothing has really gone wrong for him. I think everything has gone right, and this is one of these scenarios where he just feels in control. Now, obviously, it's going to be important that he doesn't eat massive Baneling connections here, because there is a little bit of creep, and there are multiple Banelings getting close to this army. I mean, oh my god, DeMusliM was distracted by the Ling counterattack, and a couple of these Banes did get a pretty juicy connection on that Terran Bioforce.
Wow, meanwhile, Zerglings are getting damage done in the counterattack as well. This is looking really nice for Stephano. He's going to come back in on the front side at the same time, then forced to pick up and evacuate the Marines. All the Marauders get blasted down, and that was a nice little trade-off there for Stephano? I don't know.
I mean, this game is just getting hectic around, right? It's hard for us to follow, but it's also hard for the players to follow. Obviously, DeMusliM twice not paying attention there, losing a few too many units against the Banes, but Stephano was floating a lot of resources as well. 1,600 minerals in the bank, over 1,000 gas. He fired up 9 Mulas now. That's pretty cute because there's not a single missile turret. Oh my god, the depots are still raised in the main base of DeMusliM, and now everything is derping around there.
Oh, lots of SCVs off the line as well, yeah. That's actually going to be really harmful to DeMusliM. He's
They're
coming
getting
down now.
nervous. I really think that DeMusliM is feeling perhaps the pressure a little bit, knowing that this is such a big series, that if he wins this one, there is a very good chance that he will advance, perhaps even still win this group. This attack on the fort is going to be massive.
Oh, wow. Mewtwo's coming in on top of those medevacs. Those Banelings catching all the Marines. And this was a perfect surround from Stephano. DeMusliM thinking he was sneaking in the back door, but he was actually walking into a trap. Stephano just wrapped around that so quickly. He left his Widow Mines behind, and Stephano now takes a big supply lead. He's got so much Lingbane Muta, and he might just go across the map and try to kill him right now.
DeMusliM really needs to realize that the depots are still raised in the main. He has no reinforcements coming in. He's stimming all his units as well. Oh my god, no! It's all going wrong for the British Terran as the fort base is under a lot of fire right now, forcing the CC to lift off. It's not going to be a planetary. DeMusliM has finally lowered the depots, but this could have just been a little too late. Oh my god.
What a crucial mistake there, costing DeMusliM so much here in this game. Number one, Stephano looking very strong with that Lingbane and being very careful and patient as well. Snipes the fourth and then pulls back. Now DeMusliM only on 3 bases, up against a 5-base Zerg with a Hive about to finish, a Gold base about to finish. I think DeMusliM might have to just go for one big attack here. This is such a scary position.
Yeah, excellent creep threat as well by Stephano. Not something I think he's necessarily known for in this day and age. The door was lowered as all these links are just going to run in. Now the Mule is going to jump on top of the production as well of a British Terran. And what was looking like a pretty promising start for DeMusliM just all fell apart so quickly the moment that Stephano started counterattacking.
Such nice play here from Stephano, picking DeMusliM apart, doing so much damage. Of course, keep in mind, Stephano has an almost 80 drone economy behind this. He can afford to trade these units off in almost bad trades, but these are fantastic trades. Even snipes the eBay that was getting +3, just shuts DeMuslim's upgrades down on 2-2, maintains that upgrade parity, and with the Mutas flying around, more Lingbane rolling into the 3rd base, things are looking terrible for DeMusliM.
Stephano is getting a little bit reckless though with all his units, and obviously he has the economy to be a little reckless, but you don't want to be in that position where suddenly you have no Banes anymore at home and you can't deal with this Terran army. DeMusliM knows that the clock is ticking for him. This could be that one last opportunity he has, but he's going to have to fight on creep. He is going to need splits like the son of Maru and Innovation.
He really is. There's so much creep as well. Like, you're not going to be able to fight off creep against this Zerg army because there's just too much creep and you need to attack right now. Of course, DeMusliM has an army supply lead. He's up about 15 army supply. He lost a lot of workers, but killed some Lingbane for it. But Stephano just wants to buy more time. He knows that every second that goes by, he is mining more, he is building more. If he can just keep DeMusliM back on his side of the map, this big lead is going to just spiral out of control. It's going to become unstoppable to the point where Stephano can just A-move his way over that army.
It's a very nice Muta count as well, right? 22 Mutalisk. I mean, that's more than enough to fight a couple of Marines. Look at all those super overstim Marines as well. I mean, they've got no health insurance. It's starting to look a little rough. There is not a single missed turret anymore up either. Like, the Mutas can actually just fight it. You one-shot that entire army. I'm not sure why he's flying away, but look at all those Marines pick.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, everybody. +2 attack is finished on these Mutas as well. Man, even the bounce is like one-shotting Marines. This is just crazy.
Uh-oh, now the medevacs show up, but they're a little bit out of position as well. And 3 medevacs. It's a very, very juicy pickup there. The starport is going to fall as well. A few more Marines. We're going to try to save it, but it's just a little too late. Stephano, meanwhile, casually floating 4,000 minerals because why not?
3-3 and Ultra Cavern is on the way. DeMusliM has re-established a 4th base. He's rebuilt his double engineering bay and his armory, having to spend so much money just getting that infrastructure back up. And now he's just kind of massing Marine Marauder. The army supply is still kind of close, and Stephano's close to max. But Stephano going for a nice engagement here. Low, the Lingbane wrapping around the south side of this army, but nice spread from DeMusliM. Actually pulls back, saves most of his Marines.
That's a good fight, but DeMusliM just doesn't have great production anymore, right? It's 4 Marines, and in this phase in the game, 14 minutes in, when Zerg is as rich as they are, Stephano should really get an extra Overlord. This is bothering me. He's got like 3,000 minerals, and he can't max out. He's on 196. Give me 200, Stephano. But it's just kind of an unfair fight. I have no idea how DeMusliM is supposed to salvage this situation. He lost his starport. He doesn't have... I think he's adding a reactor right now on the starport somewhere, near the fort. But at the moment, he doesn't have a single medevac on the map pick. Not a
And
single
that's just
one.
hurting him so much. That overstimmed bio just can't heal itself. Ling run by is continuing to happen. Another Ling run by on the south will be stopped by this planetary fortress. Just going to run straight past, go into the third. Hey, Stim, chase me. You can't heal that. Stephano running circles around DeMusliM. I think he's finally going to run in with one big attack here. He's being a little bit sloppy with his army, but he's finally going to roll on through, and that's just too much Sling Vein Muta.
Those
Smashes
Marines.
over the top.
Yeah, I feel sad that so many overstim Marines. DeMusliM is going to try to save. There's really not much left in the main to save. Like, Stephano is incredibly eager to kill the main. Like, he's like, I will not be done with this game until every building in the main is wiped out. But it's like, there's honestly nothing there. You know, there's like one factory and there is one Marine. Look at all these Marines. He's just forcing DeMusliM to keep on stimming. I think Stephano's just having a lot of fun at the moment.
Yeah, you know, it could be a psychological thing as well. Sometimes you really just want to drain someone's energy. Like, you're there giggling to yourself, having a lot of fun, flying mutas around. Your opponent's there frantically playing with 300 APM, trying to defend 3 different locations with these battered and bruised Marines. And, you know, Stephano's just going to roll over the top. So DeMuslim's really going to have to stay focused after this game, not let it get to him, and just kind of take this one in his stride, because hate to call it early, but he is going to need a miracle to come back from here. He is going to need each Marauder to kill 2 Ultralisks.
There is no miracle that can salvage this situation. Actually, I do like the never give up spirit over here from DeMusliM. That really shows that he's taking this tournament incredibly serious. He's been practicing hard lately. Unfortunately, this game just wasn't meant to be. One Widowmine there is going to try to connect with the Mutas, but this is just a super unfair fight. Stephano is so rich. He's attacking everywhere at once. He's sending a couple of Ultras towards that starport as well. 2 Medivacs are going to try to heal this bio army, but once again, Pig, this is just an unfair fight.
The Ultras just need to chase them, and they're slowly going to stim themselves to death. Finally, some of those Ultras do go down, but at the same time, so many SCVs, so much economy. GG, Stephano taking game number 1. And I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm always surprised. This guy comes out, hasn't been playing many games, and just starts to destroy the competition. And I guess if there was going to be one reason to light a fire under Stephano's butt, get him to play a lot of games, it's going to be $400,000 prize pool, isn't it?
Wave a 200K check in front of him, first place, and he's like, this game is still pretty fun. That was a very fun game. I think it's safe to say it was a pretty scrappy game at one point. You know, both players are just looking at each other, trading blows while both floating over 1,000 resources.
Yeah.
Could be the nerves, could be that it's already been a pretty long day. I mean, like I was just wondering, it's like, God, my brain is just not working. And then I realized that I haven't ate for the last 9 hours. I was like, man, we've been here for a while. You know, maybe I should get some food. But yeah, I felt like the opening was promising for DeMusliM. I felt things were shaping up pretty decently for him. But then there was that one Ling counter that at first didn't look that promising, but then suddenly the Lings got through. And Stephano used this as a way to distract DeMusliM. And right on that moment, I mean, right now I just always see Innovation versus Scarlet. I don't know if you saw the Neil Kirk. It's just like a bio army that stands there and like high-fives the Banelings with their face. It's like, blah! It's like no splits given today. You know, we're going to headbutt these Banes. And that just completely shut down the push that was supposed to be that promising for DeMusliM. And then obviously we saw that next push at the fort, which you described very well. Well, that was not like, you know, he was trying to be fancy and cute, but the Mutas were there. That was a trap.
I really feel like if DeMusliM slowed down at that point and abused what I think is one of the most powerful positions for Terran against Zerg on that map, where he burrowed the Widow Mines, the 2 narrow ramps next to the 4th base is this perfect area. Terran can use their range superiority, have a nice mine spread on the low ground, and just totally, you know, just wreck the Zerg. Bait them in, drop the main continually, keep going in with small squads of bio, and eke out that value.
And even obviously after that push on the fort failed, like on that moment, I think Stephano was pleased with the situation, but it was far from over, you know. Like DeMusliM was getting his own fort as well, morphing into a planetary. But then there were no units to save this planetary, and DeMusliM is pointing this out as well to Elias. He's like, you know, Elias, I had 80 supplies stuck in my main. This game isn't fun. I mean, it looked sad at first. Then I started to get worried when, you know, the force started to get a little bit bigger. And then I saw everything being stimmed, and I was like, oh my God, you know, like this just hurts. It's painful to watch.
When you see 8 SCVs, 40 Marines, and 6 Marauders on top of a ramp, all having a rave party, you're like, something's gone terribly wrong in this game, man.
Oh, well. But obviously, you got to give kudos to Stephano for creating that much chaos around the map. And, you know, if Stephano is not counterattacking, that never happens. You know, those depots never get raised and lowered and raised again. So you got to give kudos to Stephanos there. But obviously, that was also an error on the Muslim side. The second map is going to be played on Newkirk. I won't say city, but it's just Newkirk Precinct.
It's part of a city.
It is. It's
do you think it's like where the wealthy people live, or it's like the fancy area of Newkirk?
I don't know, Pig. How am I supposed to answer these questions?
The further we go into the day and the longer without you eating, the more annoying I'm going to become, Kevin. Of course, to start things out over here on the left-hand side of Newkirk Precinct, taking game number 1, it is Stephano.
In the rich part, Pig. I have decided.
The Zerg part's the rich part, of course. That's where the money's at.
Over here on the right bottom of Newkirk, we're looking at the main base of a British Terran. Can he turn it around? It is DeMusliM. Felt very confident, especially after his first victory of the day over Eric. He said just everything felt well. He was sniping things, you know, whenever he wanted to snipe it, felt very accurate. Looked at his group and he said it's a very, you know, it's a doable group. It's not easy because Namchur is a great Zerg and XY. To be honest, I did not expect him to be as good as he was, Pig. Like, I knew that that man could play, but I did not expect him to be 3-0 in this group. And there is a very good chance that he's actually going to end up winning it because he pretty much took out the toughest players already. But yeah, DeMusliM still felt, you know, very hopeful to at least place top 3. However, if you make top 3 in this group, you're going to have to go up against the second place of Group B. And well, whoever that may be, that's going to be one hell of a player. Maru is probably going to win it, but then there is a good chance you run into, you know, either Marine Lord or Harstem or perhaps still Nurchill. So that's not going to be an easy playoff match.
Of course, it is going to be very competitive even here in this group. And DeMusliM is going to be going for a Reaper expand once again. Stephano, though, going for just a very typical hatchery first, same to last game. Will be interesting to see if he goes for that 26 third hatch. So far in all of his Zerg vs Terran games, Stephano has either rushed the third hatchery just immediately after the natural, going like pool hatch straight away and going gasless, or with this build, he sends a drone out right about now and just takes it on 26 supply. So curious to see if Stephano just sticks with this kind of obsession with the super fast third base, or tries something else a little bit different up.
I mean, it's very old school Stephano, right? Like, he was one of the very first to do it. But I must say, it's been nice to see a lot of variety coming out of Stephano today in his openings, right? Like, yes, he has been rushing out these 3 hatcheries, but at the same time, he also tried that cheese. That should have worked and would have turned this complete group upside down on Habitation Station. Then also one game he opened up gasless, like you said. So Stephano is really making it quite hard for his opponents to figure out how he's opening and what he exactly wants to do.
Yeah, he's being quite unpredictable, and that is something very powerful in a tournament like this. You never want to put yourself in the comfortable position of having a pre-planned way of playing exactly before the game even starts. You want them to be forced to react and adjust to you. Stephano does poke in with this Overlord, doesn't quite spot that second barracks in that factory, so doesn't realize it is a 2 barracks medevac Marine stim rush. And those Marines, I think they're going to get that very low. I don't think they're going to get it.
They won't get it. It's close, but they won't get it. Oh, Stephano almost flew to the south side. I mean, then obviously the Marines would have been able to get it.
This is that moment where if I'm playing on ladder, I get greedy and I send the Marines like all the way around, and then 6 Zerglings kill them just before they kill the Overlord, and I cry myself to sleep a little bit. But this Reaper's doing a good job. Does pick off a Zergling there, continuing to keep Stephano back. And this is something we did see as Stephano spreads his creep out quite slowly with this build, but really focused on injecting and just pumping out lots and lots of drones.
I like that you bring the creep up. I must say I was pleasantly surprised by his ability to spread creep on Habitation Station. It was a pretty hectic game, and there was a lot of stuff happening. There was a lot of trades being made back and forth, but suddenly 70% of the map was covered in creep. I was like, well, you know, obviously old school Stephano, we always knew he was capable of it. And you know, I don't want to make it sound like Stephano's this retired player, because he's not at the moment. You know, he has been playing a lot of games. And of course he had that unfortunate showing at Nation Wars, but he really came quite prepared this event. But I still don't think that this is like the best he could possibly be. You know, he's very good at the moment, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is 100% of his, you know, he hasn't reached the skill ceiling yet. But he did look very good when it came to the mechanics on Habitation, other than the fact that his resources went up a little high sometimes.
Absolutely, and we do have double Evo going down now for Stephano. DeMusliM on the other side is just going for a single engineering bay, but a very fast one. And this is a really cute addition here with this 2-1-1. So what I would imagine DeMuslim's aiming for here is a very standard double medevac pressure, but then he's going to keep building Marines and medevacs non-stop. A lot of people will pause and power up into, you know,
double eBay 3rd CC, but I think he's just going to hit with like 3-4 medevacs filled with Marines and combat shields finishing as well as +1.
Yeah, this is his old school build that he used to do all the time. And he actually said, he's like, I barely even do that build anymore, you know, where he hits with indeed 4 medevacs full of Marines, and then he has combat shield and stim and +1. And then if you don't have enough units as a Zerg play, it really becomes incredibly hard to deal with.
Very scary timing. 1-1 is on the way for Stephano, but they are slightly behind the +1. So if DeMusliM hits a really crisp timing right when his +1 attack finishes, it will be perfectly timed to take advantage of Stephano before his own upgrades kick in. 4 Queens and some Zerglings are down here. Great transfuse from Stephano. Good reaction. Yep. Barely keeps that Queen alive and damages the medevacs a little bit, forces them to retreat for now. All of the Marines do survive for the moment, and DeMusliM just going to drop those on top of these Zerglings. Yeah. Stephano going to go for the trade, but does start to turn in Ben's favor quite hard.
Yep, now they're going to stim forward. The Queens are a little bit out of position, but the DeMusliM decides to not go for it. Instead, he will pick off a few more Zerglings. I mean, it's not been that bad so far for DeMusliM. Hasn't really lost that many Marines, and was able to take out quite a few Lings. I mean, in total, 31 Lings went down, Pig, for only 2 Marines. Obviously, DeMusliM needs to get something done, but this is where medevac number 3 shows up. Combat shield is going to finish up in roughly 30-40 seconds. And Stephano, I really think he's going to need some Banelings. With just Lings, this is going to be really hard.
Whoa, these Zerglings! No, they're going way too far ahead of the Queens, I think. DeMusliM staying calm. The Queens are getting focused down, but now the Marines do power through. And I think this might be the opening that DeMusliM needs. He's going to dive on in. If he gets on top of those drones, things are going to spiral out of control. They're all so weak. The Queens and Zerglings start to kill some of them, but the Queens are going down. This is so close. Stephano needs more Zerglings to pop out, and he needs them now. I don't know if it's in time. Drones start to fall, but DeMusliM, he evacuates at the last second. Only gets 4 drone kills.
But a big issue is that Stephano lost the majority of his Queens here, right? I mean, he actually has 1 Queen per hatch left, and he is going to have his own 1-1 upgrades. He's making 30 additional Lings. Maybe that was actually just barely good enough for Stephano, who did lose a ridiculous amount of Zerglings already in this game. It's a 7-minute game and 80 Lings have gone down. Wow.
This is pretty fantastic, defense from Stephano, but DeMuslim's macro has not missed a beat behind this. He's got another drop heading towards the main. This other drop on the north side has re-dropped down, is going to be hitting that 4th base again. Hats off to Stephano for the creep spread, though. Look at it. It's just going all across the map. It's exploding, even though it had a bit of a delayed start at the beginning there.
Yep, DeMusliM is going to clean up a couple of these tumors on the north side. A few Lings will show up, but there is that drop in the main base, Pig, where he is starting to find a small opening, but once again, mostly finds the Lings. That's actually not enough Zerglings so far, and kind of an awkward engagement by Stephano. In the end, they will back off. At the same time, DeMusliM is going to try to make something happen at the north, but gets shut down there as well. It's pretty sick how Stephano's just defending everything with Lings. I mean, he's making his very first Banelings just now, 8 minutes into the game. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Stephano hanging on is really impressive, but DeMusliM, he's starting to eke ahead in that supply. His production is really starting to kick in right now. Marines diving in on the 3rd base. Nice call there, Roddy.
Yeah, got a Queen, got a couple of drones there, not bad. And obviously this also opens up perhaps an opportunity in the main, but this time there are Lings in positioning. And that makes it a lot easier for these Lings to just drop on top of these Marines.
He was playing ping pong with Stephano there for a while, just bouncing back and forth, but does eventually lose those Marines. A little bit of ground regained there for Stephano. Stephano's got his 2-2 well on the way. You've got to remember one of the weaknesses here is DeMuslim's single engineering bay upgrades. Yes, he's got +2, but only now starting that +2 armor, so he's going to be quite far behind on the 2-2. Can we
give a shout out to the return of the Polt Viking? It's doing work, man.
Oh my gosh, 5 Overlord kills. That is massive. That's actually a big part of why DeMuslim's so far ahead in supply right now. 500 minerals is no laughing matter. Stephano coming in here with a counterattack, but actually I think quite a bad trade. And I mean, this supply lead for DeMusliM is really starting to scare me because keep in mind, the Macroach is finished. Great. No 4th base yet. The production is not that big for Stephano. He's only on 54 drones. Meanwhile, DeMusliM, look at this Terran base. Look at that production. We have got 8 barracks going up, 2nd factory, a 4th command center is about to go down. DeMusliM is going to be way out producing Stephano. So this supply gap is just going to get bigger and bigger unless Stephano can find a perfect engagement.
And obviously, perhaps once again, distract DeMusliM, right? I really think that's what allowed him to get a couple of insane engagements engagements even on a habitation station. That was never supposed to happen just because the Marines and the Marauders did not move. I don't think the Muslim is going to fall for it again. He left a couple of units at home this time. Should be counter-attack proof. And this base on the north side is super exposed. There is nothing here. It's going to fall. The Muslim or Stephano is not even going to make an effort in trying to keep it alive. He will try to counterattack, but this time there are so many units at home and the Muslim is even getting drilling claws.
I love that decision making from Stephano. He scans the other potential fourth base, sees that it's just started, and just walks home. He's got his units all rallied on his depot, defending at home. Oh, Banes are going to come in. He's trying to pull those SCVs away. Looks like, oh, he's going to get just a couple of those. Oh, no, there's still 3 Banelings behind the SCVs. Oh, my gosh, this last Baneling gets the hit. 18 SCVs go down. Stephano finds a bit of damage, but DeMusliM counters, dives on in, but there's Mutalisks here.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit risky now. The Muta count is not high enough. The Muslim is going to leave a couple of units on the low ground, will drop the majority of his forces in the main, and that's going to make it a little bit harder. Banelings are going to try to shut it down. Look at that one Viking, still doing God's work, pulling the Mutas out of position and allowing these bio units. Man, can we give a Medal of Honor to that Viking? He was great.
He did so much this game, and Thors are starting to join the field now. The very first Thor walking across the map. It wants to meet this parade push. Stephano pinned back on 3 bases. Cannot keep up with DeMuslim's powerhouse macro right now. DeMuslim's 4th command center is rebuilding back at home. He's just clearing up the creep. He's got so many units. A textbook TVZ here from DeMuslim.
And what do you do right now if you're Stephano, right? Do you just sit back? Do you hope for a miracle engagement with your Banelings? The only thing I can say is that the Muslim is pretty Marine heavy, but it's not like he has nothing but Marines. You know, he's got a Tor in the mix. He's got 4 Widow Mines. He's got 12 Marauders. Look at this one Tor getting a couple of nice shots up on these Mutas, and that's the end of the Tor. But still, we saw a Tor.
He did some good damage. This 4th base finally struggling to get on up here for Stephano. He's trying to do it. You know, I've got to give hats off to Ben for going back to his bread and butter. I'm sure you've experienced this back in your days competing as well, Rotterdam. I know I have in years past, where you don't do too well in the opening game of a set and you just go back to some strategy you've used hundreds of times before and you just know it so well that you can just execute it better than any other build. And I really think that's what we saw here from Ben.
Absolutely, man. I made a Blade Master once, lost with it. Made Farseer for the rest of my career. There are a couple of Mutalisks in the middle of the map looking for perhaps a free medevac here, but there's one Tor. Tor number 2 has showed up and actually keeps these Mutas safe. Stephano once again, you know, this is something that Stephano has loved to do for the last year, right? Even when we saw him at DreamHack Valencia, always active with Lynx and Banes, looking for an opportunity to do some damage on the other side of the map with a counterattack. But it really just feels that the Muslim has been a little too rich this game. I mean, that's 145 supply of pure army. I mean, that's insane.
Scouting command center spots the counterattack up here. Ooh, does clean up the Widow Mines reasonably cost efficiently. Stephano's going YOLO all in. He's just trying to counterattack. He knows he can't fight this army. DeMuslim's army is so far away. He's got to try and hold his production back home. It's all about just trying to stop this huge army. A great Widow Mine shot on the left-hand side, but the Mutas, I think there's a few too many of them. They are going to start rolling on in. DeMuslim, he's putting on a heroic defense here. At the same time, he's shoving his way through the 3rd. He's splitting off his bio to jump on top of the morphing Banelings.
Yeah, there are 14 morphing Banes there, but they ain't ready. And the Muslim smells that. He knows it. He's going to be able to stim into the natural, cancel all these Banes but 2. And obviously 2 is not going to be enough, no matter how big those connections may be. So even though I like the idea of Stephano, they're going for that massive counter. Perhaps should have morphed those Banes into the main, because without Banelings, there's really nothing saving the Zerg main base.
Stephano finally breaks through, but these missile turrets have made such a good account of themselves, taking out multiple Mutalisks on each one. And there's so few units left, it looks like eventually DeMuslim's production might be able to barely break out. Meanwhile, how does Stephano ever stop this army that's tearing him apart? So many Marines, Marauders, and Thors here. The Banelings come in, a good split from DeMuslim. Tears them down, and I think that's the last little bit of resistance that Stephano can seriously put up here.
It's a real bloodbath here in the late stages of this game, where there are just units dying left and right. The Muslim did lose almost all of his SCVs, but he's got the orbitals. He has a little bit of money in the bank as well. Stephano knows it. There is no turning this game around. GG. 1 apiece. Fun series pick.
1-1. That's you know, it's kind of funny. After game 1, where Stephano manhandled DeMuslim a little bit, game 2, Ben just turns it up a notch, just starts to get ahead a little bit, then a lot, then more and more, and then he just ran away with that game. Like, really calculated, calm play. You know, pushes the base, snipes it, pulls back, stops the counterattack, pushes again, clears creep, pulls back. Just pushing Stephano around the map the whole time.
Yeah, and cute moves early on as well, right? Dropping the Marines a couple of times where they were not necessarily close to queens or drones, but they were able to, pick off 6, 7, 8 links. And at one point, the Muslim already picked off like 80 Zerglings and lost like 4 or 5 Marines in the game. You know, he lost almost nothing. And that was that point where he started to pull economically ahead as well. And obviously, since Stephano was so busy in just dealing with these Marines with Stim, he had absolutely no business on the other side of the map, which allowed the Muslim to just get the setup that he was looking for, throw down those 7, 8 Rexes with the reactors. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Clean game by the Muslim. Looked a lot better. This time, no crazy rave parties in his main either. You know, all the units that were supposed to fight were actually fighting. It looked good. Man, it's going to be a big game for these guys. I mean, they're both 1-1 in their group. You know, both won a best of 3, lost a best of 3. Surprisingly, if you guys just joined us, the Chinese Terran XY is dominating. Obviously, there's always one guy at home who's like, surprisingly, please. XY is so much better than these European scrubs. No, guys, it's actually a little surprising to see him 3-0 in this group. He hasn't won it yet, but things are looking very good for him. But obviously, if you want to get top 3 in this group, Namchar is currently 2-1. I mean, the winner of this series is going to have good papers. The loser of this series falling to 1-2. It's not over pick, but then I feel you almost don't have it in your own control anymore.
It starts to get very hard to get top 3 in that group. Of course, you need top 3 out of the 6 players in the group to proceed. And that's what these players are fighting towards at the moment. We are going to be going into game number 3. And spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side of Daybreak, it is Stephano.
Good old Ilyas representing Tunisia this tournament, going up against his good friend, his roommate this event. Spawning on the right top side, it is the Muslim, Benjamin Baker. Good luck, have fun, Ben. I like it, Pig. Let's keep it friendly. There's a lot on the line here.
What a great pet name. These two have a special relationship, one of those
they have
lasting friendships of esports.
Do you know that they have been in a Facebook relationship for over 3 years now?
Really?
Still going strong. Yep.
Wow.
And I don't think they will easily change it. Like, they really have to like legitimately find somebody they want to marry before they would ever cancel that relationship. Or maybe they just marry each other eventually. Make it a big StarCraft wedding.
That would be beautiful.
I'd be there, Pig.
I would definitely want Twitch to get the streaming rights for that so everyone can watch at home.
You know what I would really like to have the streaming rights for? The IRL bachelor party stream of Stephano. Think of the viewer numbers. That would just be great.
Sponsored by maybe some of those sponsors who have been pushed away from sponsoring a lot of the professional gaming teams despite being interested. But
man, that would be heartbreaking. If Stephano and the Muslim would marry each other, whose bachelor party should I visit? Because like Ben is one of my best friends in life, but Ilyas has the craziest parties. So what do you do here?
That would be a hard decision.
Yeah.
I think
I still go with Ben, I guess. But
yeah, you go with Ben.
Yeah, I'm getting a little older as well. You know, let's slow it down. We can't all keep up with Stephano's pace. Either way, looking at the build order so far here on Daybreak, once again, Ben is going for that second barracks. No crazy quick factory this time. It's just a Reaper opening. Is not worried about Stephano doing something weird this time. Well, even though he's keeping the Reaper at the zone like a watchtower, but I think he's just going to rally it across the map. Has the feeling that Stephano is not going to do anything crazy against him when it comes to early pool, early links.
Of course, it went so well last game going for this 2 barracks play. Why not do the exact same play again? I would not be surprised if DeMusliM does end up going for that fast engineering bay and just does the exact same build, because watching the way Stephano floundered against it last game, I think DeMusliM feels really good if he can just kind of put the pressure on, keep that pressure up, keep multitasking, keep dropping. And if you can kind of keep catching those Zerglings out like you did in the early game last time, it can run away very quickly for the Terran player.
Absolutely. At the same time, no, there is an obvious answer for Stephano, right? There was this one moment where he lost those 3 queens where all he needed was 10, 14 links. He just didn't have them anymore because he was a little too reckless early on with his links, a little bit too sloppy. You could also say a tiny bit too greedy, but I don't think he was necessarily greedy. I think he just gave away too many links, and that is what allowed the Muslim to pick off all those queens. And from that point on, it was kind of becoming the Muslims' game as he had better map control and better map vision.
And the Marines are now powering out. Stephano hasn't really scouted too much this game. He has seen that factory timing, so he should be able to know, if he knows his timings well enough, that it is a 2 barracks medevac play. For the moment, just going to be droning up nice and hard. These 4 Zerglings are going to try and chase this Reaper across the map. Nice Reaper grenade. He's going to take a few of these Zerglings out with him. Might even be able to get back to the safety of the Marines.
It's a trap for these Lings. Wow, they knew.
Overlord Zabro maybe caught a glimpse of those Marines on the edge of his vision.
Good job there. I mean, just nice little kid moves early on. No mistakes being made on either side. There's DeMusliM is going for the old switcheroo, getting to pump out those first 2 medevacs. Will fly across the map then. And then obviously it all comes down to the defense of Stephano. Look at the worker count he's currently working with. He's already like 18 workers ahead. I feel that's a few more than they're normally ahead in this phase in the game. Or am I wrong, Pig?
Yeah, I do actually like there's been a small adjustment this game. Stephano's actually delayed his double evolution chamber. Wasn't mining any gas until he took his second gas geyser, and then he's put back on gas in the main at the same time. So very mineral focused opening from Stephano, and really allowing himself to power out the drones and focus on that very hard. One thing we also see from Stephano, he's actually getting a pretty decent queen count. He won't quite have 7 queens when this hits, but he will very soon afterwards.
Yep, I mean, great scouting there as well. The Overlord saw the first 2 medevacs leave, then he also parked his Lings onto the medevac of DeMusliM, just giving DeMusliM the heads up, like, hey, I know what's coming. If I were you, you know, I think twice about it, or at least be very, very cautious. Obviously, because Stephano needed a little bit of extra time because he was building those Lings as the first 2 medevacs left. But Stephano really seems to be on top of this opening of DeMusliM this time. It will all come down to execution, but he has the right pieces in place to just defend this, right?
Absolutely. Really textbook play from Stephano this time. I guess Stephano I don't think of as like this kind of technical finesse player these days, but more of a by-field harassment player. But right now he's showing us a perfect response to the exact same build that DeMusliM did last game. So really impressive play from Stephano. Respreading this creep here. DeMuslim's done a good job of keeping the pressure up, but that 52 drones that Stephano rushed up to so early, and he's got so much income. He's even starting to float a bit of minerals right now. He needs to get a 4th base and a macro hatch down.
He's actually setting up a little bit of a sandwich here. Perhaps wants to clean this up. But yes, he was floating a little bit too much there as the Bailing Nest is finishing up as well. Just now starting his lair. Could have maybe started that a little bit faster as well. Because, I mean, he was floating gas as well. So why not? But overall, it's all looking very clean. This time he's a lot more careful. I mean, 7 minutes into the previous game, he lost almost 80 Lings, right? Like this time he only lost 2 Zerglings. So obviously this is starting to go a lot better. Keeping the Lings on the other side of the map as well. We'll start losing a couple here and there. The Viking is, well, once again, relatively successful. Already 2 kills, getting number 3 now.
Yeah, this hero Viking really is doing a lot. Stephano is putting just way too many Overlords out on the edges of the map. So DeMusliM is still going to find some damage that way. Of course, Stephano has really frozen up on his drones. He's built an insane number of Zerglings here to be completely safe, which, I mean, I gotta say, respecting DeMusliM a lot. Building 70 Zerglings and 6 Banelings, just playing super safe.
Yep. He's also perhaps a little bit confused. I mean, he keeps running around, keeps wondering why DeMusliM is not floating over a CC. You know, why is he so careful? He's not really applying that much pressure on the other side of the map. That Viking is just going ham, like you're showing us on the south side. He's actually going to end up, well, no, he's not going to chase that one. Maybe it should be able to get one more, though. But also, this is a nice little distraction for DeMusliM. He's gearing up for an attack on the north side. DeMusliM is also running around, wondering why he doesn't find a 4th base, as these Marines do get surrounded. And in the end, 1 or 2 do get picked off. You can really see that both players are starting to feel the tension a little bit, right? Like, afraid to take risk over here in game number 3.
Yeah, Stephano is still only at 52 drones. He just is massing an insane amount of Ling Bane. Oh man, these Zerglings, they're actually getting way more damage than I expected. Just no units out at home. These Marines are going to have to stim back 5 SCVs and lost mining time, as well as a few Marines. That's a good pickup there for Ilias. And it's going to help put a bit of pressure back on DeMusliM. Marines coming in on the 4th base as well.
Stephano needs to start bailing speed, by the way. The bailing has been done for quite some time. The layer has been done for, well, not quite some time, but a little bit of time. He has money in the bank. He needs to get bailing speed. If he forgets that upgrade, that is one of the most crucial and pivotal upgrades in this matchup, especially if you play the style that Stephano is playing.
Yeah. Stephano right now, he's finally droning up. He's actually up in supply, but because he hasn't had that big an income, I do feel like if DeMusliM can kind of weather the storm for the next minute or so, his supply will catch up very rapidly. Of course, upgrade-wise, once again, Stephano in the lead. He's got that 2-2 almost finished, whereas 2-2's only just starting for DeMusliM. So a nice window for a potential 2-2 Ling Bane timing. If only Bane speed was finished a bit earlier as well, I think he could just maybe roll over DeMusliM and kill him.
Yeah, he has started it up now, so that's good news at least for Stephano and all the Stephano fans out there. He's getting a little bit of everything, right? He's getting new nice Carapace as well, Overlord speed that is, his Inspire is finishing up. It's important that he doesn't get too carried away, because you kind of feel like just free up some supply and make as many units as you possibly can, right? He's been floating quite a few minerals for a while. I know he's waiting for that Spire to finish up, but it's risky. You know, you don't want to give DeMusliM a great opportunity to siege your fort and really start applying too much pressure here. He has a lot of links coming from the north side as well. That's a pretty sick surround.
Nice surround there. The slow Baneling's a little bit late to the party, but that's enough to chase him off anyway. Does force DeMusliM to lift up his entire army and run. And this is what I was talking about. 2-2 is finished. Bane speed's almost done as well. 2-2 is nowhere near done for DeMusliM. This third base, oh man, these Widow Mines aren't even in that great a position. Actually, oh, one really good Widow Mine shot is going to go off. The other Widow Mine, though, not going to do as much. These Zerglings are crashing in. The Banelings, the slow Banelings. Oh man, they take out an engineering bay, but I don't know if that was worth it. That was like 20 Banelings.
He does get +2 armor though, so that's nice. Obviously, he would have preferred to get +2 attack, but that's still something for Stephano, who did take out 13 SCVs in the process as well. I do feel like the most important thing for ES here is that he's just able to keep DeMusliM on the Muslim side of the map. Yeah. If you take a look at the vision of DeMusliM right now, what does he see? Nothing. One Widow Mine. He's got one mine. That does get a pretty juicy hit there, by the way, but now he has lost all of his eyes on the map, and that's just never a comfortable position to be in, especially not against Zerg.
Not at all. Setting off these Widow Mines with individual Zerglings is Stephano. And oh, Ben does not have anything in position. The Banelings on the front. And Zerglings and Mutas, actually, they are just going to run away. But once again, Zerglings get in on the economy. Fresh mules going down, SCVs going down. These depots and bunkers being forced to cancel. Oh, DeMuslim's being run in circles right now. Mutas are about to hit the main base, and there's no missile turrets, Kevin. Things are about to get out of control for DeMusliM.
That's a pretty exposed eBay as well. DeMusliM does have a couple of Marines here that he's able to push these. Does he have 3 eBays? No, he didn't rebuild it in the wall. I mean, once again, like that SCV count is starting to reach like a pretty crucial low number, right? It's only 42 at the moment. That's still something that DeMusliM can kind of work with. There is absolutely still comeback potential. You know what I don't understand, by the way? That Stephano doesn't get Burrow here. Like, I know that Burrow is a little creative and it's fancy, like, oh, Scarlet Bomber and TLO is creative, but especially in a game like this, where the Terran is low on economy, they obviously need to drop the mules to somehow get back into the game. I really think Burrow would be great, especially on a map like on Daybreak, where the attack paths are relatively obvious and there is so much potential for massive Baneling connections.
Got to agree with you there, Kevin. It's such a great utility upgrade. Of course, Stephano right now very focused on trying to find an opening. Going to find these Marines in the middle of the map. Ooh, a couple of big Widow Mine shots, but catches the Marines and Marauders for free. So a nice clean up there for Stephano, pushing DeMusliM back, looking for more damage.
Couple of Liberators going to show up as well. I mean, DeMusliM right now is just all about surviving. If you take a look at the army numbers, it's really not even that bad for our British Terran. He's actually up right now in supply as Stephano just keeps throwing units at him. He's going to try to take out this bunker, won't succeed in doing so. Lost a couple of Lings there, lost an Overseer. Stephano once again already losing 211 Zerglings in this game, but it just feels like he's dominating because he has got so much map control.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and there's a lot of Marine Marauder here, but the Ling Bane Muta's going to dive in on top of that. The Muta's actually just focusing the 4th command center rather than the fighting units.
Ah, that's a nice pickup though.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you've already got DeMusliM penned in on 3 bases. He needs the 4th so desperately. Even going to try and focus down some SCVs in the back line. And keep in mind, Stephano's not frozen up, man. He's got double upgrades on the way. He's got an Ultra Cavern. He's getting adrenal glands. Like, he's actually both attacking, killing economy, keeping DeMusliM in his corner of the map, and teching up at the same time.
Yeah, and macroing like during all of that. I mean, even on the left top side, taking that base as well. Not even sure when he took that, but that's just the point, right? DeMusliM was so cornered, so pinpointed to his side of the map that he was just not able to be aggressive at all. Stephano just kept throwing units at him, had a superior economy, made sure that every time DeMuslim's economy sort of recovered, he was there again, picking up a few more SCVs. Throughout the entirety of this game, like 32 SCVs have died, and that's pretty damn big on the 3-base Terran economy.
Drilling Claws is going to be coming in now for DeMusliM, as well as that +3 armor to round out his 3-3 upgrades. Will time out similarly with the 3-3 of Stephano. Stephano continuing to look for this multi-pronged damage. These Lings are just relentless right now. The Muta's hitting the main at the same time. They're going to find the +3 armor upgrade.
Oh my god, the eBays just keep on dying. That's once again a dead eBay. A couple of Liberators going to show up. More Lings counterattacking on the south side, but there are a couple of defensive mines and there is a bunker as well. If you want to know something crazy, Pig, this is very, very, very uncharacteristic for the Muslim game, and 7 more SCVs died. Take a look at the Muslim's vision. He has never had eyes into the main of Stephano.
Wow.
Not once throughout the entirety of the game. Isn't that crazy?
He just hasn't had a chance to get out there at all.
That just shows how dominant Stephano has been in this game.
Oh my god, the Liberators just came out. They actually just killed a lot of those Mutalisks with their splash. 6 Liberators there in the sky. But now there's Corruptors on the way to replace them.
Oh, that's actually kind of a scary push right now, though, from DeMusliM. I mean, somehow DeMusliM has survived the onslaught that has been a wave of Zergling and Bailing over and over again. Now it's 132 supply of Terran army against 108 of Zerg army supply. Once again, Stephano being supply blocked. Does he have enough to defend here?
3-3 is about to kick in for Stephano just in the nick of time. I do think that, you know, Stephano, maybe he's got a chance pushing in there, but you've got to siege up your Liberators. They're going to go down really fast, the Mutas and Corruptors, and then on a creep, the Ling Bane Ultra is just going to roll through your bio. So DeMusliM going to play it slow. He's lifted his main down to the 4th base. He's going to try and re-establish an economy. Let's take a look at that income tab in the top left-hand side of our screens. We can see that DeMusliM right now dropping some mules on the 4th, not too far behind in the mineral income, but there's so much gas income as well for Stephano. He's making so many high-tech units. He's got so many Corruptors in here with the Ultra Ling Bane. It looks like he's decided it's time. He's going to try to roll in there, but I guess those Liberation Zones a bit scary. Just settles for a few medevacs as a prize.
But we'll get a couple of links into the natural, and maybe on top of the production as well. And these are 3-3 cracklings. They even have adrenal glands. I mean, that's insane. The Muslim is going to end up losing 11, 12 SCVs very, very quickly here. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose a whole bunch of add-ons as well. Because these links, they do so much damage. That's 1 tag lab. That's 1 dead reactor as well. Well, it's burning at least.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage coming out here. And Stephano, I mean, his supply is not that far ahead, yet he's going to go for an engage here.
It's actually so risky by Stephano.
Wow.
He almost has no army at all. He's going to completely sandwich this army, and it actually looks like it's going relatively well. These Ultras are dancing in Liberation Zones. What are we watching, Pig?
The Liberators do snipe down almost all the Ultras, but DeMusliM, his bio is so weak. All the medevacs have gone down, and there is still such a big remax here for Stephano. He trades out his army. He's got 6 Ultras and 80 Zerglings in the production tab. Meanwhile, DeMuslim's economy just trekked. Unfortunately, DeMusliM there saying didn't quite feel he played his best. Taps out, says GG. And Stephano surprising us. 2-0 Namsha, 2-1 DeMusliM. He is looking so good.
Yeah, and even the series against XY, I mean, once again, we can keep talking about that game on Habitation Station, but that should have gone completely different than it actually went. But yeah, this was really cool. Stephano just identifying where things went wrong on Newkirk, threw away way too many links early on, and then instead of having map control, he was only defending, he was just chasing around dropships. This time it was the other way around, where in the previous game he lost like 70, 80 links.